The vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly around the human exploration vessel Odyssey. Stars glittered like scattered diamonds on black velvet, and distant nebulae cast faint, ghostly glows across the ship's hull. Captain Elena Royce stood at the bridge, her eyes scanning the expanse through the massive viewport. The crew moved with quiet efficiency, monitoring sensors, checking navigation, and quietly exchanging reports. Yet, despite the routine, a tension hung in the air that no one could explain. The source of the unease appeared suddenly, like a ripple in the calm sea of space. Lieutenant Marco Lira, the communications officer, spoke first, his voice trembling slightly. "Captain, we are receiving a signal. It's weak, but it's definitely artificial." Elena's brow furrowed as she leaned closer to the console. "Where is it coming from?" she asked. "Coordinates suggest an uncharted planet, sir. The signal's energy pattern is unusual. It doesn't match any known civilization signature." Elena exchanged a glance with the ship's AI. Orion, run a full analysis. Identify any risks or anomalies before we approach." Orion's voice was calm, almost soothing, but carried an edge of caution. "Captain, preliminary scans indicate extreme energy fluctuations around the source. Approach may be hazardous. The signal's pattern suggests an intelligence far older than any known species. Recommendation: extreme caution or avoid entirely." Elena nodded, though a spark of curiosity ignited within her. Humans had always been explorers, always driven to understand the unknown, even when danger was imminent. "Prepare a probe," she said. "We need to know what we're dealing with before sending a team down." The probe launched silently, gliding toward the planet, cloaked in a swirling purple nebula. The crew watched as its sensors transmitted the first images. Massive structures, partially buried under shifting clouds of violet mist. Towering spires reached skyward, curved and delicate, as if shaped by some alien hand that understood beauty in ways humans could only imagine. Lieutenant Lira's voice shook as he read the probe's data. "These structures, they're ancient. There are markings on them, sir. Symbols that don't match any human or alien language, catalogued by the Galactic Union." Elena felt a chill creep down her spine. "Keep scanning. Try to decode the patterns. We need to understand who or what was here." Hours passed. The nebula thickened, its glowing clouds casting eerie shadows across the ruins. The Odyssey hovered just above the planet's atmosphere, careful not to draw too close. Then, the signal pulsed again, stronger this time, insistent, almost like a heartbeat. The crew felt it, not as sound, but as a vibration that ran through the ship's hull. "It's responding to our presence," whispered Dr. Sienna Cole, the ship's xenolinguist. "It's aware. This is unlike anything we've ever encountered." Elena's gaze remained fixed on the swirling nebula below. "Prepare a landing team. We are going down. But stay alert. I don't want anyone underestimating this place." The landing shuttle descended carefully, piercing the violet mist. As it touched down, a quiet stillness enveloped the crew. The ruins seemed frozen in time, untouched for millennia. Every structure carried a weight, a story that humans could not yet read. Sienna and her team approached one of the larger spires. The surface shimmered faintly, as if the stone itself remembered the hands that had built it. She ran her fingers over the symbols, tracing their curves. "These markings, they're a warning," she said slowly. "Or maybe a message. But it's so old. I can feel the intelligence behind it. It's aware of us." A sudden pulse of energy rippled through the ground. The crew stumbled slightly, gripping nearby walls. The shuttle trembled, its lights flickering. Elena reached for her communicator. "Report." Lyra's voice was tense. "Captain, the signal, it's changing. I think it's communicating with us. Or maybe it's testing us." From deep within the spire, a faint glow began to emerge. At first, it was only a flicker, like a candle flame. Then it grew brighter, forming shapes that hovered in the air. The symbols lifted off the walls, spinning slowly, creating patterns that shifted and flowed like living streams of light. Sienna's eyes widened. It's showing us images, visions. I think it's memories. The crew watched, mesmerized and horrified. They saw civilizations rising and falling, stars igniting and dying, worlds consumed by forces they could barely comprehend. Beings of immense power moved across galaxies, shaping and destroying with ease. Yet in the midst of this cosmic scale, the images focused on a single planet, showing desperate figures, sending out a signal, a plea for help. Elena felt a shiver run through her. That's the source. That's why it's calling us. But why now? Why us? As if in answer, the energy pulsed again. Stronger this time. The visions became more personal, touching the minds of the humans. Each crew member felt an echo of fear and desperation that was not their own. Shadows of ancient horrors whispered in their thoughts, glimpses of destruction that no species could survive. Orion's voice broke the spell, cold and logical. Captain, the energy signature is adapting to our neural patterns. The signal is interacting directly with our minds. Caution advised. It may be attempting to manipulate our perceptions. Elena took a deep breath. Stay focused. We are here to observe, not react. Record everything. Do not let fear control your actions. The landing team moved deeper into the ruins. They discovered chambers filled with crystalline structures that emitted faint hums. Each crystal seemed to store knowledge, memories, and perhaps even the essence of the beings who once lived here. Touching them sent shivers down the crew's spines. Some saw flashes of alien landscapes. Others glimpsed terrifying creatures that defied physical laws, existing in dimensions humans could barely imagine. Sienna knelt before a crystal that pulsed rhythmically, like a heartbeat. She placed her hand on it. Suddenly, her mind was flooded with a torrent of images. Cities burning under invisible forces. Vast armies crushed without contact. Stars collapsing into dark voids. She staggered back, gasping for breath. They didn't survive, she whispered. They were destroyed by something. Something unimaginable. And they sent this signal. Maybe as a warning. Elena's jaw tightened. Then we need to understand it fully. If this entity still exists, if it's out there, it could threaten not just this sector, but the entire galaxy. A low rumble echoed through the chamber. The crystal's light intensified, casting dancing shadows across the walls. The crew instinctively stepped back, feeling the weight of countless eyes upon them. It was clear that whatever had sent the signal had left a trace of its presence. A consciousness that lingered even after the civilization itself was gone. Lyra's voice trembled over the comms. Captain, I think the signal is more than a message. It's alive. Somehow, it's studying us. Elena's mind raced. She had faced countless unknowns in her career, but nothing like this. She looked at her crew, each of them showing a mixture of fear and fascination. We are humans, she said quietly, almost to herself. We face the impossible and find a way forward. That's who we are. Suddenly, the crystals emitted a pulse so strong it shook the ground beneath them. A bright light enveloped the chamber, blinding them for a moment. When their vision cleared, they saw a figure or something that resembled a figure standing in the center. Its form was fluid, constantly shifting, like liquid metal mixed with living energy. It emitted no sound, yet its presence spoke directly into their minds. A voice, not spoken but felt, resonated within each of them. You have answered. The warning has begun. Prepare, for what comes is beyond fear, beyond comprehension. Survive, or be erased. The crew froze, unable to move, unable to speak. The weight of the message pressed on them like gravity, crushing and inescapable. Elena's mind struggled to comprehend it, but her instincts screamed one thing clearly. They were not merely observers anymore. They had stepped into a story far larger than themselves. A story that would test every limit of human courage and ingenuity. As the light faded, the entity, or whatever it was, vanished. The crystals dimmed. The chamber returned to its eerie quiet. And the humans were left alone, with the echoes of a warning that chilled them to the core. Elena straightened, her jaw firm. Report everything. We leave the planet immediately, but we do not forget. This signal, it has chosen us to witness its message. Whatever comes next, humanity will face it, and we will endure. The shuttle ascended, leaving the ruins and their silent warnings behind. Outside, the purple nebula swirled like a living storm, hiding secrets that no human could yet grasp. As the Odyssey sped away, the signal pulsed one final time, faint and distant, but unmistakable. It had been sent across millennia for this very moment. And now, the galaxy had taken notice. In the silence of space, Captain Elena Royce knew that nothing would ever be the same again. The message was clear. The universe was far larger, far older, and far more terrifying than anyone could have imagined. And humanity, small and fragile, was about to face a challenge that would test the very essence of its courage. The stars stretched on, indifferent yet full of potential. Somewhere beyond the nebula, eyes unseen watched the humans who had dared to answer the call. And in that vast expanse, the story of survival, ingenuity, and human resilience was about to begin. The Odyssey raced away from the purple nebula, its engines straining against the gravitational pull of the uncharted planet. The crew remained silent, each lost in their thoughts, haunted by the entity's warning. Captain Elena Royce sat in her chair, staring at the flickering holographic display. The signal still pulsed faintly on the ship's sensors, like a heartbeat in the dark. It was alive, somehow, and it had chosen them. Lieutenant Lyra's voice finally broke the silence. Captain, the signal. It's changing. It's adapting faster than we can track. Something is coming. Elena's eyes narrowed. Coming? What do you mean? Orion's calm voice filled the bridge. Captain, preliminary scans detect a massive energy signature emerging from the nebula. It matches the source of the distress signal, but at a scale that exceeds any known starship or weapon. Estimated dimensions suggest it is enormous, highly adaptive, highly intelligent. The crew exchanged nervous glances. How enormous? Elena asked. Larger than a cruiser fleet, possibly hundreds of kilometers across. Orion replied. Its speed and movement patterns suggest faster than light capabilities. Recommendation: prepare for immediate contact or evasion. Elena's heart raced. Prepare for contact, she ordered firmly. We need to know what we're dealing with. Full shields up. All weapons ready. And Lyra, keep recording everything. We may not get another chance. The ship's hull groaned as it accelerated, plunging into the nebula. The swirling purple clouds created strange visual distortions. Stars seemed to bend, space itself rippled, and the crew felt an almost physical pressure, as if the universe were testing their resolve. Then, it appeared. From the shifting mist, a colossal vessel emerged. Its surface shimmered like liquid metal, constantly reshaping, giving it an almost organic appearance. It was impossible to describe part ship, part living organism, pulsating with an eerie light. The Odyssey's instruments struggled to scan it. Readings jumped wildly, energy patterns fluctuated, and sensors failed repeatedly. The crew fell silent, awe and fear gripping them. Even Orion hesitated before speaking. Captain, this vessel is not like anything catalogued. It emits an intelligence that is aware of us. It is observing and evaluating. The massive vessel slowly moved closer, its enormous size dwarfing the Odyssey. The crew could feel its presence like a heavy weight pressing against their minds. Then, without warning, it projected a series of images into the ship's communication array. The holograms depicted countless worlds consumed by destruction. Cities disintegrated without fire. Oceans boiled without heat. Forests vanished as if devoured by an invisible force. Entire civilizations had been erased, leaving nothing but empty space and ruins. Each image struck the crew like a hammer, and a cold dread settled over the bridge. Elena gripped the edge of her chair. This is what the signal was warning us about, she whispered. Whatever did this is still out there. And it's coming. The vessel's projection shifted, showing the human sector of the galaxy. It highlighted worlds under the protection of the Galactic Union. Civilizations unaware of the danger that lurked. The message was clear. No planet was safe. No fleet could stand against it unprepared. Lieutenant Lyra swallowed hard. Captain, it's a predator. Something that consumes life itself. It doesn't just attack, it erases everything in its path. Elena's mind raced. She had faced impossible odds before, but this was unlike anything humanity or the galaxy had ever seen. Orion, analyze for weaknesses. Anything. Even a tiny flaw could be our only chance. Orion's calm voice betrayed no emotion, but its words carried a sense of gravity. Preliminary scans indicate the entity's energy field is highly adaptive. Conventional weapons may be ineffective. Weak points may exist in areas of rapid energy flux or during sudden transitions in its form. Detection requires advanced quantum analysis. Probability of success without precise coordination is low but not zero. The crew began preparations immediately. Scientists worked tirelessly in the lab. Engineers adjusted shields and tested experimental weapons. And pilots ran simulations to predict the entity's movement. Fear lingered, but so did determination. Humans were not known for surrendering to the impossible. Hours later, the vessel shifted, moving in ways that defied physics. It disappeared from sensors entirely, only to reappear closer to the Odyssey's position. Its intelligence was evident. It was testing them, probing their reactions. Suddenly, the communication array flickered, and a voice, or something like a voice, entered their minds. It was not spoken aloud, but each crew member felt it as clearly as if it had been whispered into their ears. You have answered the call. You are observed. Your species may survive, but only if you understand. Chaos can be your ally. Predictability is your enemy. Elena's pulse quickened. It's teaching us, or maybe warning us. We have to listen carefully. Every gesture, every movement, every decision matters. The crew spent the next days studying the vessel. Its energy patterns were chaotic yet patterned, like a complex code. It seemed alive, aware, and infinitely intelligent. Attempts to communicate in conventional language failed. Every direct message they sent was met with a subtle distortion, as if the entity was observing and analyzing before responding. One night, as the crew rested, a sudden tremor shook the Odyssey. The lights flickered, and the hull vibrated with an intensity that made the crew stumble. The vessel had moved closer, projecting a field of energy that affected gravity and electronics simultaneously. Elena and Lyra rushed to the bridge. The massive ship loomed outside, almost alive, pulsating with a strange light. Then, without warning, it projected a vision directly into their minds. They saw entire fleets destroyed, not by fire or missiles, but by an invisible force that consumed matter at a fundamental level. Stars blinked out, civilizations vanished, and the galaxy seemed to shrink under the entity's reach. Yet among the devastation, they noticed patterns, subtle anomalies in the energy pulses, moments of hesitation, slight inefficiencies. Elena's eyes widened. That's it. That's our chance. It's powerful. Yes. But it's not perfect. Nothing is perfect. Orion's voice was steady. Captain, the probability of success using these observations is extremely low. But it exists. Humans have a higher adaptability factor compared to other species, which may increase chances of survival. The realization ignited hope among the crew. For the first time since encountering the signal, They felt that humanity might not only survive but could fight back. Unlike other civilizations that had likely fallen in despair, humans had resilience, creativity, and intuition that no algorithm could predict. Elena called a meeting of the senior officers. "We're not going to run," she said. "This entity has tested countless civilizations and left only silence behind. But we are humans. We are unpredictable. We adapt, and we survive. We will learn its weaknesses and find a way to protect our galaxy." Sienna spoke next, her voice firm despite the fear in her eyes. "Captain, the visions show that it reacts to patterns and predictability. If we act unpredictably, we might confuse it, even delay its attacks. We can use that to study it further." Elena nodded. "Then that's our plan. Observe, adapt, and strike only when we have a clear advantage. Lyra, continue recording every pulse, every fluctuation. We need every piece of information possible. Orion, prepare simulations using these patterns to predict its behavior." Days turned into nights, though the concept of time was strange in the nebula. The humans grew accustomed to the ever-present pressure of the entity's presence. Each crew member faced moments of doubt, terror, and exhaustion. Yet they persisted. Fear was a constant companion, but so was determination. Then came the first test. The massive vessel moved closer, faster than anything in the known galaxy should have been capable of. It projected a series of holographic constructs, simulated attacks, showing what would happen if humanity failed. Cities on distant planets burned, fleets disintegrated, and the galaxy fell into shadow. The crew watched, their hearts pounding, but they did not falter. Elena's voice cut through the tension. "We are not alone in this. We have knowledge, intuition, and courage. Every test it throws at us only makes us stronger. Remember that." For hours, they studied the projections, noting subtle inconsistencies, small deviations in energy pulses, patterns that hinted at vulnerability. It was painstaking work, but it revealed the truth. The entity, despite its immense power, could be challenged, and humans, unlike any other species, were capable of finding solutions in chaos. By the time the Odyssey emerged from the nebula's edge, the human crew had changed. They were no longer simply explorers or passengers in a story much larger than themselves. They were strategists, scientists, and warriors ready to face a force that had horrified the galaxy. Elena stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. "It's coming," she said quietly. "But so are we. The galaxy may have feared this entity for centuries, but it has never faced humans, and we will show it that even the smallest species can rise to greatness when courage guides them." Outside, the colossal vessel lingered, waiting, observing, its intentions unknown. But for the humans aboard the Odyssey, fear had become a tool, not a master. The galaxy was about to witness a confrontation that would test every limit of life, intelligence, and bravery, and humans were ready to face it head-on. The Odyssey returned to human-controlled space, carrying more than just data from the nebula. The crew brought knowledge of a force unlike anything the galaxy had seen, a predator that consumed worlds and civilizations with an efficiency no weapon could match. But they also brought hope. For the first time, humans had glimpsed not only the threat, but also a way to counter it. Captain Elena Royce convened a meeting of senior officers and scientists in the strategy room. Holographic maps of star systems, energy projections, and simulations covered the walls. She looked at each officer, seeing the same determination in their eyes that she felt herself. Fear was still present, but it had transformed into focus. "We now understand the enemy," Elena began. "It adapts, it predicts, it consumes. Most civilizations faced this force and fell without a fight. We will not. Humans are different. We adapt, we think creatively, and we act unpredictably. That is our greatest strength." Dr. Sienna Cole stepped forward. "Captain, our analysis shows that the entity is vulnerable during moments of energy fluctuation. When it shifts, forms or reacts to our patterns, there is a brief window where it can be affected. It is small, but it exists. If we exploit it, we may slow it down, or even strike a blow. Lieutenant Lyra added, simulations suggest that conventional weapons have almost no effect. The only chance we have is to use chaos against it. Randomized attacks, unpredictable maneuvers, decoys, anything that forces it to adjust constantly. It cannot adapt if we do not follow a pattern. Elena nodded. Then we begin there. But we cannot do it alone. We need allies. The captain activated the comm system, sending an urgent message to neighboring civilizations. Species that had heard legends of the predator now had proof of its existence. While some fleets responded with fear, others sent emissaries willing to join the fight. Within days, representatives from multiple species gathered aboard the Odyssey for strategy talks. The meeting was tense. Some races were skeptical of humans' unconventional approach. Others doubted whether any plan could work against a being that could erase entire planets. But Elena's words carried weight. We are not here to be heroes, she told them. We are here to survive. Fear has frozen many civilizations for centuries. Humans will not wait for doom to strike. We will act, and we will adapt. Together, we have a chance, though small. It is real, and we will use it. The alien delegates exchanged wary glances. But the logic was undeniable. Coordinated unpredictability. Chaos as strategy. These were concepts few had considered before. Humans' ability to think in ways that defied standard tactics gave them credibility, and slowly, the alliance formed. While diplomats and strategists worked on coordination, the Odyssey's crew turned to practical preparations. Engineers enhanced the ship's energy shields, making them more flexible to react to the entity's fluctuations. Scientists developed experimental devices designed to interfere with the predator's energy patterns. Pilots practiced complex maneuvers, pushing their ships to operate in ways the enemy could not easily anticipate. Days turned into nights, or what passed for night, aboard a moving fleet. Every day brought new simulations, new testing, and new insight into the predator's behavior. The entity remained at the edge of known space, observing, learning, and perhaps even preparing for its first strike. One day, as simulations ran, Orion interrupted the exercises. Captain, the predator has moved. It is approaching the outer rim of the system. Speed and trajectory indicate observation and testing, not immediate attack. Elena's pulse quickened. It's coming closer. We need to finalize the strategy now. Every moment counts. The Alliance's fleet assembled at the rim of the system, a patchwork of human and alien ships. Each vessel carried its own weapons, its own shields, and its own unique approaches to combat, but coordination was key. Humans insisted on central command, not to dominate, but to synchronize the unpredictable. Chaos without control could destroy them all. Sienna stepped onto the bridge to give her report. Captain, the predator reacts to patterns and predictability. If we strike together in unpredictable bursts, we can create openings in its energy field. That is our only chance to affect it directly. But every crew must act without hesitation. Timing is critical. Team. Elena studied the plan carefully. We will deploy decoy formations first. Draw its attention, force it to adapt. Then we strike during the fluctuations. Use energy pulses to disrupt its form, destabilize it. Every ship has a role. Every crew member must execute precisely. Failure is not an option, but adaptability is our greatest weapon. The fleet moved into position. Purple clouds of the nebula loomed ahead, shrouding the predator's approach. The tension was palpable. Every pilot, every engineer, every scientist knew the stakes. Failure meant the loss of countless worlds. Suddenly, the predator arrived. Its massive form emerged from the nebula, larger than any starship ever built. The fleet trembled under its presence. The entity's energy shimmered in waves, shifting and twisting like living liquid metal. It did not attack immediately. Instead, it observed, as if testing the fleet's resolve. Elena's voice cut through the comms. Remember, act as one, but unpredictably. Let chaos be your shield and your sword. Do not hesitate. Strike when the moment comes. The first wave of decoy ships launched, zigzagging in erratic patterns across the battlefield. The Predator reacted instantly, shifting its energy fields, warping space to counter their movements. Explosions of light and energy lit the void, showing both the power and the reach of the entity. The fleet followed with carefully timed strikes. Humans led the maneuvers, creating false signals and randomized energy bursts. Other species, initially hesitant, quickly adapted to the chaos-driven tactics. The Predator reacted, adaptive and intelligent, but the humans' unpredictability forced it into constant adjustment. Sienna monitored energy fluctuations aboard the Odyssey. "Captain, it's working. The entity's form is destabilizing in certain zones. We have brief windows to exploit." Elena nodded. "All ships, focus on those zones. Energy pulses at maximum capacity. Strike together, unpredictably, and do not retreat." The battle intensified. Ships darted and twisted, avoiding the Predator's energy streams while firing disruptive pulses. The Predator shifted, trying to anticipate movements, but human-led chaos kept it off balance. For the first time, the fleet could see the effects. Parts of its form flickered, temporary weaknesses forming and dissolving. Lieutenant Lyra's voice trembled with excitement and fear. "Captain, it's reacting to us differently than anything else in its history. We are not just surviving, we are fighting back." Elena's heart swelled with pride and determination. "We are human. We do not yield. Every civilization that fell before feared it. We do not. Remember that. Every moment." Hours passed, though time seemed meaningless in the void. The fleet continued to press the attack, using adaptability, intuition, and sheer courage to maintain pressure. The Predator's responses became more erratic, its form less stable, energy pulses less predictable. The humans' plan, born of creativity and resilience, was working. At a critical moment, the entity attempted a concentrated strike against the fleet's core. Human ships acted on instinct, scattering in unpredictable patterns while firing coordinated energy pulses. The attack missed, the Predator destabilized, and for the first time, it recoiled. Sienna gasped. "Captain, we've done it. We've forced it to retreat, at least temporarily." Elena's voice rang with resolve. "This is only the beginning. We've shown it that humans and their allies cannot be underestimated. But it will return. And next time, we must be even more unpredictable, even more prepared." The fleet regrouped, repairs underway, and the Alliance's leaders met to discuss the next steps. While fear remained, hope had taken root. They had faced an entity that had horrified the galaxy for centuries and had survived, not by overwhelming force, but by intelligence, adaptability, and courage, qualities that were uniquely human. Elena stood on the bridge, looking at the stars. The nebula shimmered in the distance, hiding a predator that had devoured civilizations across time. Yet humanity had faced it and endured. She knew this was only the beginning, but the knowledge that they had succeeded in even a small way strengthened her resolve. The galaxy would remember this day, not for fear, but for the courage of a small species that dared to stand against the unimaginable. Humans had shown that ingenuity, bravery, and unpredictability were forces no being, even one of cosmic horror, could fully control. Elena turned to her officers. "We have a path forward. It will not be easy, but we are humans, and that is enough to face even the impossible." Outside, the Predator lingered at the edge of the nebula, watching, learning, and perhaps even acknowledging the defiance of a species that refused to be erased. And for the first time, in countless millennia, a predator of unimaginable power had met a species that refused to submit. The story of survival, strategy, and human courage was far from over. But humanity had proven that even against cosmic terror, life could fight back, and when the Predator returned, it would find a galaxy ready not in fear, but in defiance. The galaxy held its breath, The Predator, a being whose very existence had erased civilizations, loomed near the edge of human-controlled space, its form ever shifting, liquid and metallic, radiating a power that made stars seem small. Captain Elena Royce stood on the bridge of the Odyssey, her hands gripping the console, eyes fixed on the shifting waves of energy that marked the Predator's presence. The fleet was ready. Humans and allied species had gathered in formation, each ship carrying experimental weapons, energy shields, and strategies born of adaptability and chaos. This was the moment they had trained for, planned for, and hoped for. Failure would mean the loss of countless worlds. Success would mark the first victory against a terror that had haunted the galaxy for millennia. "Orion, status report," Elena said, her voice steady despite the tension gripping the crew. The AI responded calmly. "Fleet readiness at 98%. Energy pulse weapons are calibrated. Shields at maximum efficiency. Predator is maintaining observation, but shows increasing agitation. Probability of initial strike success, 37%. Probability of overall mission success, uncertain, but human adaptability factor increases chances significantly." Elena nodded. "Then we begin. Lyra, send out the decoys. All ships follow the pattern but remain unpredictable. Sienna, monitor energy fluctuations closely. Every pulse counts." The first wave of ships launched in a chaotic formation, scattering across the void like sparks in a storm. The Predator reacted instantly, its massive form twisting, attempting to anticipate their movements. Energy streams lanced through space, disintegrating decoy drones and scattering matter in bursts of light. Yet, the human's unpredictability forced it into constant adjustment. For every calculated strike, there was an unexpected maneuver, a sudden change of direction, a diversion that kept it off balance. On the Odyssey, Elena watched the energy fluctuations in real time. "Now, Sienna!" she shouted. Sienna activated the pulse disruptors, sending a torrent of quantum energy toward the Predator. For a brief, terrifying moment, its massive form flickered, unstable, like a wave frozen in time. That was their window. Every allied ship fired, energy beams converging on the weakened sections, creating localized chaos within the Predator's structure. The Predator screamed not with sound, but in the vibrations of space itself. Its massive form twisted violently, energy pulses spiraling in all directions. Yet it did not retreat completely. Instead, it adapted, reassembling its form faster than any calculation could predict. Elena clenched her fists. "It's learning. But so are we. Keep moving. Keep striking. Remember, unpredictability is our weapon." Pilots darted through gaps in the Predator's energy field, firing experimental disruptors, dodging streams of destruction, and testing limits of their own courage. Human ingenuity became the key. Where conventional weapons failed, creative tactics succeeded. Ships lured sections of the Predator's energy into traps, turning its power against itself. Hours passed in a blur of light, energy, and chaos. The fleet pressed forward relentlessly, refusing to yield. Every moment brought new danger, every pulse of energy, a test of resolve. The Predator's attempts to anticipate their moves became increasingly frantic, its energy pulses fluctuating wildly. Then, a sudden shift. The Predator focused a massive strike on the fleet's center. Ships reeled, shields strained, and explosions lit the void. But humans had prepared for this. The core ships executed a perfectly timed dispersal, breaking the pattern, scattering energy pulses, and forcing the Predator to miscalculate. Its strike hit empty space, leaving a momentary opening. Elena's voice rang across the fleet. "All units, concentrate on the destabilized zones. Now! Strike together!" The combined energy of every ship surged toward the Predator's weak points. For the first time, its form truly faltered. Sections collapsed. Energy streams warped. and parts of it flickered like a dying star. The predator roared in an unearthly vibration, an expression of both fury and confusion. Sienna's eyes widened as she monitored the readings. "Captain, it's not invincible. The windows are opening wider. If we keep up the pressure, we can force it to retreat, or worse, sever its control over its energy network." Elena nodded. "Then we push harder. Every pulse, every maneuver counts. Humanity and our allies will not be erased today." The fleet adjusted, combining unpredictability with precision. Humans led daring maneuvers. Alien ships followed with complementary attacks. Quantum disruptors, energy nets, and chaotic decoys combined into a symphony of destruction that the Predator could not fully control. Suddenly, the Predator unleashed a massive wave of energy, consuming space itself, threatening to engulf several ships. Panic rippled through the fleet. But Elena remained calm. "Brace, channel power into shields, use the energy to feed our countermeasures." The humans and their allies did exactly that. The energy pulse, intended to destroy, was redirected, amplified by experimental devices. The Predator's own force turned against it, destabilizing its core further. Its massive form shivered, pulses warping violently, energy collapsing in on itself. For the first time, it recoiled, retreating from the fleet. But this was no surrender. The Predator's intelligence, its centuries of experience, meant it had learned from the engagement. It adapted, altering energy flow, changing form faster than ever. The battle was not yet over. Elena took a deep breath, her mind racing. This is it, the final push. Orion. Calculate synchronized pulse deployment across the fleet. Every vessel must strike simultaneously. Timing must be perfect. Orion responded immediately. Calculations complete. Execution window in 5 seconds. The fleet held, waiting for the signal. Time stretched, every second feeling like an eternity. Then, Elena gave the command. Now, every ship fired, every disruptor activated, every energy pulse converged on the Predator's weakened core. The effect was instantaneous and overwhelming. Sections of the Predator's form collapsed into themselves, energy spiraling chaotically. The creature writhed in the void, its intelligence struggling to compensate. And then, for the first time in millennia, it faltered. Its massive form shivered violently, energy streams collapsing inward. It emitted a vibration that resonated across the galaxy, a soundless scream that shook minds and hearts alike. Elena watched, barely daring to breathe. Hold the formation. Keep the pressure. This is the moment that decides everything. The fleet maintained relentless attacks, exploiting every instability. The Predator, unable to stabilize itself, began to retreat slowly, withdrawing toward the nebula. Humans and their allies pursued cautiously, aware that it could strike again at any moment. Finally, it vanished into the swirling clouds, leaving only remnants of its energy scattered across space. Silence returned, profound and heavy. The fleet drifted, battered but alive, staring at the void where the Predator had once loomed. Elena's voice broke through the stillness. "It's over. For now. But we've done it. We've survived. Humanity, and our allies, have faced the unimaginable and endured." The crew erupted in relief and quiet celebration. Pilots cheered, engineers hugged, and scientists exchanged triumphant smiles. Fear remained, yes, but it was tempered by pride, determination, and hope. Humans had faced a being that had terrified the galaxy and had survived, not through brute force alone, but through ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. Sienna stepped forward, her eyes bright with emotion. "Captain, the Predator, it will return. But it now knows that the galaxy is not defenseless. It has learned to fear unpredictability, and humanity, our species, has shown it something it may never fully understand." Elena nodded. "Then we must remain vigilant. This battle has proven our strength, but it has also taught us that vigilance is the price of survival. The galaxy may be vast, but humans will not be forgotten. We will defend life, no matter the odds." As the fleet regrouped, Orion added, "Captain, analysis indicates that the Predator's adaptive intelligence may have been affected by our unpredictable strategy. Probability of recurrence remains high, but the odds of successful defense have increased significantly." Elena smiled faintly. "That is all we need for now. Humanity has survived against the impossible, and we will continue to do so, no matter what comes next." In the following weeks, the Alliance worked to repair fleets, strengthen defenses, and study the remnants of the Predator's energy. Humans led the research, combining alien technology with human ingenuity to create devices capable of monitoring, predicting, and countering similar threats. The galaxy, once paralyzed by fear, began to see that survival was possible not through surrender, but through courage and adaptability. Elena stood on the bridge of the Odyssey, looking at the stars. The nebula that had once concealed the Predator now seemed peaceful. Yet she knew it was only a temporary calm. Somewhere within its depths, the entity lingered, observing, learning, perhaps preparing for another encounter. But humans had changed. They had seen the impossible and endured. They had faced a terror that had erased civilizations and had responded not with panic, but with strategy, courage, and unity. The galaxy had witnessed something new. The defiance of a small species capable of rising to greatness when challenged by the unimaginable. Elena addressed her crew, her voice strong and clear. "We have faced the worst the universe could offer and survived. We have proven that courage, intelligence, and adaptability are forces even the strongest cannot ignore. Today, we write a new chapter in the history of the galaxy. Humanity will endure, and life will thrive." Outside, the stars shimmered, distant, yet full of promise. The nebula swirled quietly, holding secrets still unknown. But the galaxy now had a beacon of hope, a reminder that even against a predator of unimaginable power, life, especially human life, could fight, adapt, and survive. And somewhere, beyond the veil of space, eyes unseen watched the humans who had dared to defy the Predator. For the first time in countless millennia, an ancient intelligence understood that not all life could be controlled, predicted, or consumed. Some species, however small, carried within them a spark of defiance, strong enough to change the fate of worlds. The story of survival, ingenuity, and courage had reached its climax. But the galaxy knew one truth. Wherever darkness lurked, humanity would shine, unpredictable, resilient, and unstoppable. And the universe, vast and indifferent, had no choice but to take notice.